Today, we're going to be talking about the recording process, specifically when it comes to tracking vocals in the studio, and what does that look like? How do you do it with a feature? How do you do it with somebody else? How do you do it by yourself? How do you prepare to come into the studio ready to sing from an artist perspective and from a producer perspective? Hey everybody, my name is LeBron Arnwine.
And I'm Jessica Hitte.
And welcome back to another episode of The Journey. Dun, dun, dun. So we'll start with you, Miss Jessica.
Oh, me?
So when you know you have, let's say today is Tuesday and you're like, hey, this weekend on Saturday morning, I have a 9 a.m. vocal tracking session. How do you prepare that week to enter into the recording session to track your lead vocal?
Well, I'm going to share things based on my experience of what I typically do, but I also want to make sure that artists know you can probably ask your producer to do some of the things that I'm about to mention. For example, I love practicing with the backing track because we normally have backgrounds already cut. If we have
references.
Yes, references. Wow. We normally already have backgrounds in there, at least tweaked in some way where I can kind of hear what it's going to be and feel the energy of the song, stuff like that. I have learned about myself. I feel way more comfortable if I have a base of, if I just sang this straight through, I know it would be solid. Then when I get in the studio and sing that, I know I can play around. I get really easily frustrated in the studio, so I try to, and we'll talk about that in a minute too, I try to make sure that I have at least sang every single part full voice, chest voice, because somebody doesn't let me sing anything in my head voice anymore. So
I'm gonna hold my tongue. Go ahead.
I know you want to say something, but just trying that before, I never did. I thought I'll just wait. It'll be in the moment. Don't ever trust the moment, especially for studio stuff. I'm going to stick to that for right now. LeBron Arnwine. As a producer, when I prepare for an artist, as she said, I would have already sent a reference out. I'm making sure that you have the music that you can practice through that week, and that when you come into the studio, things are already set up for you. You're not having to wait. You can walk in, we get comfortable, we kind of talk through the day, the process of how we're going to record that day, and then we move in. I set up a time with the engineer, say, hey, could I come in an hour before, just make sure things are set up. Here's the tracks. We're going to upload the session, get the tracks made. I'll make sure all the inputs are right, make sure things in the ears are sounding good. So when the artist comes in, there's no wait time, especially if you're working with a high profile artist who their time is literally money. Like, hey, I'm here I have an hour and a half. I don't want to waste an hour of it trying to get set up. This week, we're highlighting someone that's been pretty crucial to my songwriting process, just encouraging me to get into music altogether. This crazy little short white dude that I met a long time ago in Lee University campus choir that I actually did not like when I first met him. I don't know if I've ever said that to anybody. I've told him several times. If you've ever met Josh Lynch, you will know he is one of the greatest people on the planet, and one of the most talented people on the planet.
Never give up on me. There's no place your arms won't reach. You never give up on me. Your love looks beyond what man can see. So no matter how hard I run, how far chasing ever still, you never give up on me.
But he started writing some songs and asking, hey, Jessica, will you jump in and just kind of fill in some stuff with me? And so one of the songs that he actually sat down and wrote was called Lift You Higher. It's a beautiful song, and ended up putting it on the album.
So many memories coming back.
Oh, this is me. I have something to say about that too.
Those thin loops.
Author of my future.
That melody's so pretty.
Redeemer of my past.
Thought she was in her bag that day.
I don't know if I should stop now and say something or not.
Go ahead and
We
say
about
it.
to-
Say what you're going to say.
Two things. One, that was the first time I ever experienced frustration from LeBron.
I was frustrated?
In the studio, yes. And this is not anything against him. We didn't really know each other that well. I mean, at least studio-wise. I could tell he was frustrated with me because I couldn't sing something a certain way. And so it frustrated me. So it just wasn't working. And Josh Lynch already knew me like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and say what his pep talk was. I was just frustrated. He'd already cut his side of the vocal. And I heard Josh. He came in 2 takes and he's done. I was like, something ain't fair. Bron, what did you do to make his like that? That's not fair. Do it to mine, you know? But I was so frustrated, and Josh could tell. And he came in, and if you know Josh, you would understand. But he came in and he said, Jessica, you look frustrated. Take a breath, chill. Sing it how you would normally sing it. Just remember the thing I tell myself all the time. And I was like, okay, what? So he got out a napkin out of his pocket, and he pulled a pen that I had somewhere. And he wrote, "You can't sing," on a napkin. And he was like, just look at this. And every time you feel frustrated, look at it. And it says, you can't sing. Then that's the lowest of the low. And you can't do any worse. And I was like, this is not going to work. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And I sang the rest of the time. I just sang. But I remember they were he hates when I fall off notes. Jessica, just straight tone. And I couldn't do it in that little run where he said I was feeling myself that day. I remember how many takes it took to get that one little tiny thing. It sounds good now, but I can feel all the pressure every time I hear those couple of lines. That was the first time I ever experienced you being frustrated with me in the studio.
I don't remember being frustrated. I mean, I'm not saying I wasn't. I just don't remember.
He has a tell when he's frustrated.
And what's my tell?
Your mouth. You do this thing where it's like you want to say something and your eye go like this, and it's like let me think of how I'm about to filter and you do something, but it's just like, we'll do it again. But then we didn't know, we're about to talk about it in a minute, of what the best way is for me to get my best take. We know now, but I'm going to play more of this song before we talk about that. That's me. You know what? I don't think he sings on this at all.
You hear how dark those tones are, those vowels? That one's okay. You sang one a minute ago, that was a dark vowel. Yeah, Josh sings on the other one. He don't sing on this one.
I thought he featured on. He just wrote this one.
If you want to hear the whole song, go to SoundCloud.
Is that dark? Why are you making that face?
That's how I see your mouth in my head when
He always talks about dark tones. When I was growing up, my voice was real high pitched, not like it is now. And my mom used to say, Jessica, open your mouth, drop your jaw, and make it lower.
What I like to do when I'm prepping for, especially somebody I don't know coming into the studio to record vocals, I'll just have them sing it straight down the page 3 or 4 times, songs top to bottom. Mistakes and all, whatever happens. Because that first 1 or 2 takes, they're getting their feet wet, they're getting levels right, they're getting comfortable, they're trying to get into the flow. Their voices are still maybe warming up if they're amateur. If they're professional, they understand to warm up before you get there. So when you walk in, you're ready to go.
Is that a dig?
That is, I
couldn't tell if your smile was like Jessica.
I was not smiling. That's just a nugget for all you who want to studio. Remember, time is money, money is time. And you'll realize that if it was your money you spend in the studio, you're going to come already ready to sing. By the 3rd take, there should be some kind of momentum going now. So I have you take it down maybe 2 or maybe even 3 more times straight down the page. But the whole time you're singing it, I'm making my own middle notes, or I have pen and paper, and I'm jotting down notes. Oh, verse 2, this line, I want to catch that again. Or verse, on the bridge, I want to catch this whole, let's get this whole thing one more time. Taking my spots. And then after we get 3 or 4 takes, now I have options. So from a producer, I would tell the artist, hey,
It's okay. This first couple takes, don't worry about it. Go for it. We're getting levels set back here, which we are. But sometimes because they don't feel like, oh, we're not in the red for real. We're not really recording. I can try stuff. Those are sometimes the best takes because you don't feel the pressure of like, I got to do it right. Hey, just sing the song.
As an artist that hates water, but is learning how important it is, it can't be a couple hours before. You can't just take it in the studio and hope, it's going to be good. You need to be drinking that 2 or 3 days before your studio session. That, and then, just paying attention to yourself when you are in the studio, paying attention to what makes you most comfortable, what helps give you the best take, what keeps you from getting frustrated, and not being afraid to tell the producer that you need that. I know now I'm comfortable enough to tell LeBron, like, hey, I can't do it that way. But you also have to be receptive to the fact that he may know, or the producer, he or she, may know things about your voice that you may not even know. For example, there's been a lot of times LeBron's been like, trying to amp up energy. I'm just like, you can hit that note, Jessica. It's this note right here. I've heard you hit it in this song right here. I'm like, dang, maybe I can hit it, So then I try it. But I've also learned little tiny things matter. For example, I don't like when I can't see him while I'm recording. I like to read his face on whether it sounds decent or not, because I can tell. What studio were we at last with Ethan? What's the studio?
Arch Studios in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yeah, Arch Audio, Arc Audio, something like that. Mm-hmm. But I learned in that studio, I didn't know I could have the lights turned down. I didn't know I could have everything dimmed down. I sing so much better. We've also learned since then that it's so much better than he can tell I'm frustrated. He's just, instead of stopping and being like, hey, let's do this, he just starts it back over. And then I hear it start over and he'll start it back over when I mess it up again. And it's not like let's talk about it, because the more we talk about it, the more frustrated I get. So it's just like he said the last time, I need a running start. I need to just keep going until it happens. Oh, that's the winner. Let's keep it. Taking it section by section is something that I end up doing most of the time. Get a couple full takes and then section by section. There's some people like Jalinda Hill that can walk into a studio and start from the very top. The very first note that she hits is it. First take, done. I'm not one of those. And it's okay. It may take a whole lot more editing than it does for a lot of other people, and a whole lot more time.
She's not giving
things
herself
like that.
enough credit.
But it's just different. Anything you want to add on that one as you take a sip of your water?
I was going to ask you, before we get into the song, what would you say the process is like when it comes to having a feature on a song?
Yeah, and a lot of this I learned from you. I think it depends on the person or the artist. We had Josh Lynch there in the studio, and that wasn't something we'd already planned out. He wrote the song, we sat down, and we figured that out together. With Mignon Sarton, who features on a song, which we'll talk about at another episode, I think that we sat down. I think we sat down and we said we want her to sing these sections, and even like notes to where, hey, stick to the melody here, but on this one you can play as much as you want to. All those notes, all those runs. The feature with Jonathan Etienne, same thing. When we sent those files, we never got together in person. He sent files back.
And I was in Florida when we did that.
Really?
I was in Florida. I was on vacation. I was sending files from there.
I don't even remember that.
That video with the lizard.
Oh.
Ron has a lizard in his room.
Yeah. Ooh.
They've been found a cracker.
I'm going for it. Ready?
Hold on.
I'm going. Woo! Wrong way. Not in my bag, you ain't.
No, he in there. Just pick the bag up, throw it out. He's on your bag.
He's on my bag.
Boy, he in there.
My bag is zipped up.
Bro, if you just put your bag outside.
He's on my bag.
I told you, put your bag outside.
Austin, I need you to help me with make sure
Why?
he'll crawl up. He'll crawl get on me. Oh!
Bro, just put the...
You pick it up.
Use this pole to pick it up outside the pole, bro. The side of the pole, it can go between the loop. Yeah, there you go. Now just do it real easy, like. Now be a little... Okay, you got it.
Oh! There you go!
Close it up.
Watch this.
I ain't gonna miss and you gonna come inside.
Got it. Now I got mad. You got on my bag.
Throw a cookie out there with him.
Amen. That's the trip.
Oh.
said sing, Joshua. This little boy from Alaska. Who can sing like that?
LeBron talks about James Matchack a lot as being like the person that kind of pushes him to do stuff. And I may have not ever given Josh his credit like I should have, because it's just weird when it's a person you see all the time and it's your friend and stuff like that. But he really, no, go ahead. What was you going to say?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Something about you?
No,
No, but he really was the one that pushed me into songwriting. He was in my corner 100% pushing all that. So I don't think I give him enough credit. So Josh, if you're watching, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
And thank you, LeBron.
I wasn't gonna say nothing. Thank y'all for joining us this week on this week's episode of The Journey. My name is LeBron Arnwine.
And I'm Jessica Hitte.
See you next time.
He is the literary